Oh, that's a good idea to start.
Welcome to All Gold Everything, a podcast for babes with buns.
Buns.
Well, it's like buns and buns.
Yeah.
We got both. We got both kinds of buns. Double
Yeah.
entendre.
All the buns.
All the buns.
Even-
How are you?
I even have some sticky buns.
Some sticky buns.
I
yes.
don't have sticky buns, but I would like to because I like to eat carbohydrates.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's funny because today for dinner, I'm like, I have to go get a salad or something green because I've been eating all beige food for like the last 2 days. I've been really like on a carbohydrate bender.
Yeah.
You know.
You got to do it sometimes.
You do.
Especially on mornings when one might cry on the way to the work over the state of the world.
That's tough.
Because the song Holiday shuffled through her iPod
Holiday by Madonna?
by Green Day.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Okay.
Back when we thought shit was bad.
Yeah.
And
then
we thought that we could beg to dream and differ from the hollow lies.
And then it got worse. How sustained was the cry? I want you to have had an actual release, like I hope you were feeling like
I didn't
kind of
sob.
satisfied when it was over.
I think it was one of those kind of self-indulgent cries, like just really grateful that I could finally just cry and realize that I'm crying over the world and it's okay, because I think we're probably all actually crying over the world and just afraid to say it.
Everyone's
out loud.
crying over the world in different ways.
Yeah, but I did also cry last night because I didn't get a smoothie, so something might be going on with me more than just the state of the world. I might just be real fucking tired.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
definitely part of it, I bet.
Yeah, tears come when tired.
Mm-hmm.
I still think the state of the world's fucked up, though,
Agreed.
and it's okay to cry about it.
I completely agree. It's okay. Maybe we should have like an all gold pod single. It's okay to cry about it. They can kind of be like in line with like, it's my party and I'll cry, but like an updated
It's
version.
my commute, and I'll
It's my
cry if I want to. Damn it, it's my commute.
That's right.
Yeah.
As long as you're stopping at red lights. I mean, you're not texting.
No, I'm not. I'm just crying.
Just crying.
Just sobbing.
Cry my eyes out over here.
But you know what? That actually reminds me. I used to cry on the way to work because some dude fucked me over. I fucked somebody over.
Yeah.
I said some really fucked up shit to somebody the night before. Somebody was treating me unfairly. So actually, having had that recollection just now, it's like, you know what? What a gift to be able to drive into work and just cry over the state of the world.
Cry over
I don't have to apologize to any fucking buddy.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And maybe we won't be crying over the state of the world for much longer. Only because like anticipating that the world will change, not that it will end.
So let me just say something that I don't know if this is like actually okay to say in this forum, but
Say
I
it.
had a like thought. I had an intuitive thought, and
Yeah.
it's the first time that I've had a non-cynical intuitive thought.
Yeah.
Because that song shuffled through and it reminded me to the Bush presidency, and we thought it was
holiday.
crazy.
Yeah.
It was just insane.
Totally nuts. The Bushes
and-
were.
and do
They
you
look
remember?
very sane by contrast.
Right, but do you remember what we did as a country
Mm.
after that?
We voted them out. Bye.
And who did we vote in?
Barack.
Who was like, I
Who we
mean,
love.
the age of innocence, right?
Yeah.
Or so it's like if we thought that was bad and that's what we did.
Yeah.
Now we know this is like exponentially worse.
This
like,
is
holy
bad.
shit!
Yeah.
What are we gonna do
Yeah.
next? Like it could be really incredible.
Yes, I agree. And the
so
mix.
what I'm saying is, I had a little hope in my sobbing depression.
Yeah. I'm glad that you had a glimmer of hope. And I was actually surprised to find out that there are a number of Senate races that are still being contested. And 2 of them went blue this week that they thought were going to be red. So Arizona's Senate seat that Jeff Flake resigned from went to the first openly bisexual female senator from Arizona. So she's
Right,
the first
but
female
she's
senator from
pretty
she's
purple.
Still purple. She's not totally
Yes.
blue,
Yeah.
but she is technically Democrat.
He was super blue though. So
well, I mean, he still voted party line,
okay, but
although he was an outspoken critic.
yeah, as in he was an outspoken critic of
Totally.
Donald Trump.
Yeah. But I mean, he had the opportunity to stop the Kavanaugh hearings and he didn't.
Yeah.
So-
well, fuck him.
Yeah. So he
Fuck
got
you,
replaced with
Flake.
someone who's blue and she's a bisexual woman. So that's good. And then there was another one
Well,
too.
can we not just call them good because they happen to have like
Excellent point.
a
Excellent
really
point.
cool
Check
sexuality?
the boxes.
Like, okay, you're diverse. Yeah, we
Yes.
like diversity. We want diversity, but that doesn't buy you a good politician.
That
Not in
is
my book.
absolutely the best way to think about politics. Good. Thank you for reminding us of that.
Do you like that?
That's a good. That's good. Well, this started off a little more serious than I anticipated.
I did it. I
love it. I'm glad
sorry.
I'm glad that we went there. I mean, all I had was fodder like, oh my God, about having buns. So
and I'm like, man, fuck the world. Yeah, sorry about that.
It's totally fine.
remember the message of hope.
I will remember the message of hope, which is that the last time things looked really gnarly, we
did something really good.
And
we did something really good.
Agreed.
Right.
So all of the kind of banter that I have now is going to seem incredibly trivial in this particular frame, but I want to tell you
that's fantastic because I think people are done talking about politics, and I don't think they turn to us for politics. I don't think people are like, I really like to hear the state of political affairs. I'd like to hear All Gold Pod.
Those girls do run fast and loose with their facts, so I don't know. I will say that I reached a pinnacle in my life this week, which was that my husband was talking to someone, and they were like, "Oh, who are you married to?" And he was like, "Oh, Heidi." And she said, "Oh, Heidi with the bun."
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh, hell yeah, Heidi with the bun."
So you're like, yes.
Hell yeah, that's me.
okay.
I'm here
okay
for
with
it.
that. Yeah.
I like having this moniker, Heidi with the bun, because of the potential for double entendre. Also because my bun, my hair's pretty thick, so my bun does get pretty high. And sometimes Jeff's like, mind the bun. Anytime I'm like getting into a car, because a lot of times I'll bop my bun on the top of the car, and it's like, my bun. So anyway.
Does he push your head down?
No, he does. Only if he says mind the bun. So it takes on an entirely different connotation. The other thing that I've been doing this week, because we're going, my family's going to Puerto Vallarta on Friday, is that I have been tanning. I've been hitting the tanning bed. So I know there will be people out there that care or don't care. It's so bad for your skin.
You probably shave too.
I do.
My God.
So first of all, I walked in the tanning salon and was like, just take all my money. Here you
Right,
go. Here's
that's what you have to do.
Here's all my money. Because it's like, you could try to do something cheap, but you just don't get anything worth getting.
No,
so
you did it right.
I did it right. I gave them all my money. They gave me unlimited access to this diamond level tanning bed or whatever. And I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And I was like, well, I'm going on vacation on Friday. I did this a week ago, Friday last week. Well, I'm going on vacation on Friday. I just want to build a base. And then, so after I gave them all my money, the first thing they did was shame me.
Right.
Well, we usually recommend a month and a half for building your base.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to come here every damn day.
They were like, I'm still paying you your unlimited fee.
Yeah. And I'll be here every day. And she's like, well, great. It's $140 right now. So tomorrow you can come back at $141.
Yes. I actually, when I was tanning pre-wedding, I got turned away because I was a half hour too early, and there was nothing they could do because there's no ability to think rationally.
No,
your rational thought cannot override the computer.
You must be tan mom who is tanning compulsively.
I'm like, no, I'm on my fucking lunch break, and I have a sports bra on my back, and I'm wearing a backless wedding dress. Let me in that tanning bed.
Can you please help me? Well, I made the mistake the other day of telling them that I was a little pink. In some like bathing suit areas that don't normally see the sun. Bathing suit areas. What am I, 10? Yeah. On the front bathing suit area, on the top bathing suit area. And they were like, well, if you're even pink at all and you tell me that, I'm not allowed to let you go in. And I was like, really? Well, I was just planning on like wearing my underwear and whatever. And she's like, the sun bulbs will burn through your underwear. I'm like, really? Okay, well, I guess I'll come back tomorrow. I was kind of mad about it.
This must be really good for me.
Yeah, this must be
really
so
healthy.
awesome.
I think this is really good for me.
Who needs this eyewear, please?
Yeah.
The eyewear.
Yeah, what was the big threat? I remember a big threat about the eyewear, too.
I don't know, but it was $3 for me to buy my eyewear. But then today I heard this lady selling it to someone for $5. So I think they kind of just like size you up and see what they can get you for.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're a $3, not a $5.
$3, not a $5.
Yeah.
I do what I can. The other thing that happened to me this week is I went to my dentist, who is my favorite dentist ever. Dr. D'Ambrosia is the best. She's with MK Dentistry. She's a super fan of the show.
And she's a celebrity dentist.
And she's a celebrity dentist. Yeah. She does my dentistry. She does the Thorns. She does the Timbers. And she is actually sending us our first piece of legit fan mail. Like, we can hold the card. It's coming. Oh, hey. So she was like, oh, I wanted to send you this card, but I didn't want to just like send it to you because I thought it might be creepy. And I was like, oh, do I need to sign like a disclosure form or something? And she's like, no, but now I'll send it to you. So she's sending us a little card. And hopefully she's listening. Her favorite episode so far has been the tracksuit episode.
Oh, well, it was a good one.
It was a great one.
Well, maybe that's the one because that brings up this little like crossing of lifelines that I had today where like I'm a professional.
Yeah.
And I've kind of like harassed some of my coworkers because I have like a chunk of coworkers who are on my social media. And so they know we have a podcast, but they will not speak of it. Like literally, I was leaving tonight and a coworker said, oh, what are you doing tonight? And I said, I'm podcasting. The room went silent.
Oh my God.
Like,
no, I was like, don't say anything.
Don't say anything about the podcast. Do not say anything. No feedback is the best feedback.
Oh my God.
And so I'm working with a resident. I have pharmacy residents. I act in the role of preceptor, and I'm teaching them to be professionals.
Yeah. What better way
God
to
bless.
teach them to be professionals than to have them listen to our show?
Yeah, and so I don't know. I may be I may be wrong, but they tend to
You are not wrong.
They tend to just walk in with a baseline level of respect for me because of my position.
Because you a boss. That's why.
And so this sweet resident, she's only on her second week, and she was like, I want to listen to your podcast. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I'm like,
freaking out.
I'm like, every other word is fuck. And we, say really inappropriate things. And here I am teaching her to be prim and proper and professional. And
It does have the E button next to it that says it's explicit.
yeah,
and it's a grown folks affair.
Oh,
I just feel like
right.
It's a good litmus test.
So I kind of just didn't send her the link, right?
Yeah.
So she's leaving today, and she's like, and I sent her a bunch of links to
Other stuff.
pharmacokinetic articles and literature about drug dosing. And she's like, oh, and by the way, can you send me the link to your podcast?
Oh, she did not forget.
She did not forget.
She is a straight A student.
Yes, yeah. So I did.
Yes.
And so she's listening on her way home, and she's looking through it. She's naming off all the episodes. Which one should I listen to? Should I listen to this? I'm like, I don't care. I don't care which one you listen to. Oh my God, I can't breathe. She's like, it's okay. And
Meanwhile, I'm like, can we sell her some advertising space?
I know. And I'm like, well, we say bad words, and this is not a this is not a pharmacy related podcast. I'm like, damn, I took my shit way too seriously.
She's gonna love it.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to give her some stickers when she bounds in. Will you see her tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard not to ask her. What'd you think? Are you gonna do that? I mean, I did. All my coworkers, all my old colleagues. They're not old. All my colleagues that I used to work with, my former colleagues, they all listen. And so, but I would always be like, especially in the first weeks, did you like it? Did you listen? What did you think?
Yeah.
Can you review us? Make her
Well,
leave us a review.
Well, I clicked over into shield my pain mode, and I was like, well, if you like it, subscribe, rate, and review. It's like, I don't know what the conflict of interest here is, and I don't know if I could end up getting seriously unpreceptored shit from this.
But you're on the ethics committee too.
I am on the ethics committee. I might get unethicked.
Nah.
They might boot my ass from the ethics committee.
I don't think so. We're perfectly ethical here. Aside from running a little fast and loose with certain facts, but they're not medical facts. No, we just run fast and loose with pop culture facts.
Right.
Please, everyone does.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I ran across this story today about this bear that is hitchhiking its way through Mexico.
Well, that's adorable. Is it trying to catch up to the caravan?
It's like a big ass. It's not like a baby bear. It's like
a
a
refugee bear.
It's a refugee bear. It is a full size bear, and actually he is not caravanning across Mexico. He's hitchhiking between two places. He goes to work and he catches he gets in someone's truck and they zip him to one town and he goes through all the stuff there and then he zips back to the town he came from.
Mexicans know how to do it. They're I'm just going to give this bear a ride.
I'm just going to say, have you ever given a hitchhiker a ride before?
No.
No, I haven't either. I grew up with the fear. I feel like all women grow up with the fear of God in them about hitchhikers. It's just such a classic scary movie thing.
You can't take the risk.
You'd have to be totally insane to pick up a hitchhiker, I think. But I
know people who've picked up I know a lot of people who've picked up hitchhikers.
Really?
My dad broke my world. I remember as a kid when he told me he hitchhiked from Massachusetts to LA in his youth.
My mom has hitchhiked as well. Mother.
Yeah. And I was like, my head exploded as a child. I'm like, Dad, you should not be telling me this. But I'm never allowed to hitchhike.
No, I would never. I would never hitchhike. I would never pick up a hitchhiker just from even having seen too much
Ted Bundy.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No. And so I was thinking, but would I pick up a hitchhiking bear? God, maybe if he was carrying a little picnic basket and had a hobo stick on his.
I really want to say I would totally pick up a hitchhiking bear because I want to be that person who would pick up a hitchhiking bear, but I would be way too critical of the interpretation of, is this bear hitchhiking or is this bear rabid and crazy?
This is funny because I was reading the story and I'm like, Sandy would pick this bear up because this is very consistent with the concept of trail running and getting mauled death by bear.
Right, but I'm not trying to run to a bear to kill me. I thought I was very clear about this.
You were pretty clear.
I'm not gonna so I'm not gonna pick up a hitchhiking bear thinking like, he may maul me today and that would be rad. Like, no.
No.
And so I think I would probably overthink it because I don't know if you've noticed, especially right now, I am overthinking like everything. So I would overthink the hitchhiking bear.
I can say
probably wouldn't pick him up.
Yeah, there's no way in hell I'd pick up a hitchhiking bear. I'm pretty terrified of animals, frankly. I mean, I'm even scared of dogs. Like,
but
I'm learning.
I was gonna say, but hitchhiking bears are so cute. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true.
I should have sent Mark a picture of it because maybe I will in post production. Maybe I'll send Mark a picture of the hitchhiking bear because he's pretty cute.
He is pretty cute. Yeah.
The pictures are from kind of far away though, so you don't know. I mean, who knows how like mangy he is? Or he might be smelly. I don't know.
I'm sure he's smelly. He probably has infestations of multiple mite tick.
I just feel like all he'd have to do is do one like, and I'd be like,
well, we're probably talking pickup trucks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have
Get in the back, bear.
I mean, I don't think I can fit a bear in Tilly Loco. I don't think so.
I love it. I love it. But this discussion of bears and trails is a great segue because you have a big trail thing coming up.
Oh yeah, let's talk about it.
We gotta talk about it.
So this is turning into something that's going to be really cool because I had this idea with one girl I was running with who wanted to run a 50K, and I was like, well, it would be perfect. Well, I think we tried to sign up for a 50K.
How far is 50K again?
It is 31 miles.
31 miles.
Yeah, and the one we signed up for, we weren't selected for the lottery, so we're like, let's just run, Wildwood end to end, and then
tell our listeners what the Wildwood is.
So the Wildwood Trail is a trail in Forest Park in Portland, Oregon, and kind of one of the really incredible things about Portland is that there is all this actual wilderness right in the city here in Portland, Oregon.
Is it like second only to Central Park in New York City, or is Central Park second only to?
Let's just say it is.
Yeah,
let's just say it is.
I think actually Central Park is probably second.
It's
to Portland.
Second only to nothing. Okay, how's that? It's second only to nothing. It's the best park in the whole fucking world.
The best park. The best, the most best.
It's a forest. It's a rainforest, moss. Like imagine trees with moss and trail.
It's beautiful canopy.
Yes.
Gorgeous trail, well maintained trail.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's one long trail that extends the length of the forest park, and that's Wildwood. There's a ton of connector trails. There's just tons of combinations of many really amazing loops and shit you could do. But so from the start of the trail at the zoo to the end of the trail on the north side, Newberry Road is about 30 miles. It's a little bit over 30. So it's really close to a 50K.
Yeah.
So I kind of had this idea, and she's a first-time runner, so I wrote up a whole training plan just to send to her so she could get an idea of what she'd really be committing to. And I asked one other friend, do you want to do this? She declined for very good reasons, and other friend committed. So I was like, oh, hey. And then Joey said that he'd be in. So I'm like, well, I'll just like kind of offer it up to a bunch of to social media to see if anybody else wants to.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is the 30-mile trail run, looking for a group who wants to do it, who wants to do a 4-month training plan.
Yeah, it's a commitment. 4 months.
It's a commitment. But the reason that it's 4 months is that it is perfect for a first-time 50K-er.
Yeah.
It's a nice build. It has 3 different cycles of build and recovery, build and recovery, build and recovery. The first recovery week falls on Christmas.
Oh, yay. So you have that week off, or not off, but in recovery.
Close off in recovery, which is fantastic. With March 23rd being the run.
Okay, so the run is going to be on Wildwood Trail, March 23rd.
30 miles. And I'm just kind of looking for anybody interested. I had a pretty good response on social media. We have a big group.
Awesome.
Of people who are interested.
Nice.
Yeah. And people who have surprised me, who I never would have thought would be interested.
Yeah, cool.
So it's going to be super fun to try. We're not looking to break any records.
Right.
We're not looking to
just going to cruise.
Yeah.
That's gonna be awesome. I'm not committing to running the race, but I am committing to being there as a head cheerleader.
Yeah,
that's my job.
You're great at that, but you're gonna run a section with us.
I probably will. Probably I'm good for about 5 miles.
Yeah, we'll find a sweet section for you.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
And you could help us with the aid stations because we're not even trying to be like hardcore. We're not trying to do it unsupported. Yeah. Like we're gonna have
orange Gatorade.
Yeah, we'll have shit.
Oreo cookies.
And we'll figure out what your shit is, what you like, what you need, and we'll have that shit there.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Because we know how to do it.
We do. I've done it before.
Yeah, so we'll put the email on the screen. If any of our listeners are interested, I could send you the training plan, and you could tweak it as you like, and we could talk about it.
Yes, there's our email.
And
it's on the screen.
Yes, and even if you are not from Portland, Oregon, and you just want to come to Portland
Oh
on
my
March
God.
23rd and run this with us,
That'd be
you
amazing.
could train where you are and then come meet us on March 23rd and run this incredible trail with us.
So good.
Yeah. So more details to come. To those who are interested, email. You just saw the email on the screen, and I can't wait to hear to see if any of our listeners.
Oh my God, this would be
wanna
so
do
fun.
Their first, their second, their third, 50K with us.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think we have about 7 people committed right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
but
a good.
they'll fall off. It'll just be me and you, baby. Just me.
You get one-on-one time with Sandy for 30 miles. For 30 miles. How long does that take? Just give to like any runner who has not done this before. Like, what kind of window are we? Like, a marathon for me took about 4 hours. So I guess you'd add about 5 miles onto the end of that. So probably 5 hours.
No.
5 to 6 hours.
It's trail, and
Yes.
there's a
Oh, thank
significant
you.
amount of climbing.
Yes.
So I would say anywhere between, depending on where you're coming from, between 4 to 8.
4 to 8
The
hours.
first
Okay.
time I did it, it was like a little under 6 hours.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
And that's a nice fun pace.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm shooting for about 6 hours.
Oh, it's going to be so awesome. I can't wait to have signs out there and have orange Gatorade and do a little bit of a jog with you guys. That'll be so awesome. Thank
be
you
fun.
for inviting our listeners to do that too.
Yeah, and
so
it's a good way to just stay busy and stay fit during the winter time.
Mhm.
It's a lot easier to get out in the cold and wet
Mhm.
with people who are, as sexy as we are.
Like-minded. I love it. And it also makes me think of staying young, which you brought an article to my attention about a pensioner.
Oh my gosh, this is
Please
the
tell
best
me about
shit.
this. This is the best thing ever.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, you guys probably have heard about this by now, but it's like
I hadn't heard about it at all until you
know,
sent it to me.
I'm like, I think I'm a secret, just like wannabe dating expert. So what attracted me to this story was there's a pensioner in now I'm forgetting where he's somewhere.
I think it's in the UK.
Oh,
Let me look.
Denmarky. It's Scandinavian
Let me
or
look, let me look, let me look.
Amsterdam or fuck. I'm sorry, I did not do my homework, listeners. I cannot remember where this guy's from. He's European.
Yeah.
He's a European man. He's a fine-looking 69-year-old European man. He's like a life coach. He's a well-known self-help guru. And he decided that he identifies as 49 years old, or maybe 40, or maybe 45. And because he identifies, he's looking to actually like legally change his age.
And he is Dutch. He's from
Dutch.
the Netherlands, of course.
I was close. Oh my
We
God.
have a couple listeners in the Netherlands, so.
I am so embarrassed. I was close. I was in the region.
But the article was in the Daily Mail in the UK, so
Right,
I mean it's a
right.
little confusing.
I know. I was regional. So he wants to change his name, and he cites things like, Tinder. This is what stuck out to me. This is why
Yes.
this story stuck out, because he can't get any play on Tinder because he's 69, and he thinks that he identifies his mind and his body feel like he's 49.
Yeah.
So he'll get more play because apparently 49-year-olds get play on Tinder.
I don't know.
I don't think 49-year-olds get play on Tinder.
I don't know. I feel like everyone gets. I am having the opposite. I feel like everyone gets play on Tinder. So his problem might be that maybe people in his age group, like maybe other 69-year-old people, don't know how to use Tinder very well. Like maybe the pond is smaller. There's less fish.
Do you think that this man wants to date a 69-year-old?
No, I mean he's well, yeah. You're sorry.
I mean,
you make a very good point.
in the setting of the context of this story, I don't think he's on Tinder looking
yes,
for
you're
a
right. He's looking for
69-year-old.
somebody younger than him, definitely for sure. And I do like this quote that he says. He's converted to Buddhism, and he said, "I've done a checkup, and what does it show? My biological age is 45 years." So first of all,
I took that quiz on the Google. I'm 23.
I know. I'm like, I believe in aging in reverse. So if there is
Yeah.
actually a biological test that will show that I have aged in reverse, I'm on board for it. So Sandy sent me this article the other day. Across the room, we were at a thing, and my eyes lit up. I was like, I mean, I was so excited because like I totally believe in this. I totally believe in aging
That's
in reverse.
so funny.
But this guy is not actually talking about aging in reverse, although this last little quote kind of implies it. He's talking about trying to get play on Tinder.
Well, I don't think that was his only reason for wanting to do it. I loved his argument. That he would also save. He would also save the government money because he wouldn't actually start collecting his pension until he was 69 again.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I'm here for it because I'm getting in my upper 30s, right? I'm 38.
Yeah.
But I really don't feel much older than like 32. I really don't.
I mean,
what's the difference?
It's subjective. It's subjective. And this is dumb. like, this is really dumb. Just lie about your fucking age on Tinder, old man.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you had a chance to look at the photo of him. If I was a thoughtful podcaster, I would have sent the photo as well. But I'm not a thoughtful podcaster. I have a very busy day job.
You do have a busy day job. I have a photo of him. Let me see if I can just.
Oh, yeah. That is one good-looking 69-year-old. But he looks 69, right?
He does look 69.
He does. He looks 69.
Clearly 69.
But I think
not 45.
Well, here's the thing, and this is where, like, I really do think I've achieved, like, dating expert status. Self-proclaimed. I identify
as a dating expert.
I'm gonna make myself a legal dating expert.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
identify as a dating expert. I really do, you guys.
That's why we need you guys to email us your dating problems.
No, you don't need to. You could continue to suffer. It's cool.
I know, but your true expertise just
right,
lies there.
But
if it's
here's
untapped.
the thing: he's a 69-year-old man looking for a date on Tinder. Like, something is wrong here. Like put on your nice little outfit and go to, like, fucking church. You're 69, or like, and I
or
guess
go have dinner at 5 o'clock and meet some other people.
Yeah,
having dinner
go get
at 5
the Blue
o'clock.
Plate special, and you're gonna meet. But I think that he's probably not really too in tune with what he really wants and needs. I think that he is probably looking for something that is not going to be, like, legitimately sustainable, and he probably can't really sustain an erection, so he's not going to even have success on Tinder. Like, they're trying to get laid.
Yeah, that's the point of Tinder.
Yeah. So I think that he's got some work to do on himself alone.
Boom.
And the funny thing is he's a self-help expert. He's a life coach. He gives life coaches bad names. So I'm really ripping this guy a new one. But just, like, own your shit. Be your age. Be who you are.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You, as a 69-year-old man, is actually, like, a big, incredible life of experiences that I would not want to deny.
Yeah. And here's the thing, is that I really feel like I could get on board with this, because you know how I feel about aging in reverse. If he was like, no, I truly feel 45. Here's why I feel. Here's how here is how it is part of who I am, or whatever. But because so much of this article is about him trying to get laid on Tinder, it's, like, a little transparent.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, and maybe I was so stoked to talk about it, though. I was glad you sent it to me.
I don't know. I'm just opposed to denying my chronologic age, because that's how many years I've been on this planet, growing and learning.
Doing it. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Somebody who is not denying her chronological age is the notorious RGB. RBG. Oh,
I know.
God.
Can we?
I said her name backwards. What is wrong with me? Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Can we have her identify as 49?
Yeah, I mean, I wish. That would be amazing. So, as you know, she tripped and fell this week and broke a bunch of ribs.
I did hear that.
I saw two funny memes about this that had me rolling. One of them was, like, a picture of her just, like, with this steely glare, and, like, the wording underneath was like, I have more ribs, bitches, like, which I thought was awesome. And then the other one that I saw was, like, the thing that said that where she was like, oh, I tripped over the new guy who's passed out drunk down the hall, which also made me giggle. So sending lots of love to RBG and hoping that she is recovering
those memes coming
just fine. And then the other thing that I found that made me giggle was that Taylor Swift has found a new way to be transported, a new way to avoid paparazzi. She's currently being transported in and out of her apartment in New York City via suitcase.
Oh my god!
I'm making Mark put these pictures up because this is like a giant ass suitcase. She looks okay. There are a couple things about this. First of all, she's like a real tiny woman, so I mean, I guess she's folded up in there or whatever.
She's a real tiny woman.
She's tall, but she's very thin.
Well, right, but you gotta fold up.
She's gonna have to be doing some serious yoga. I wonder if this is maybe yoga goals. Like that.
No!
That suitcase looks like there's a person in it.
This is not yoga goals. God, what is happening to the world right now?
It's not.
No,
yoga
don't deny your
goals.
age. This is not yoga goals. This is.
That's terrifying, right?
Yes.
The point, I mean, I was joking about it. I'm sorry. Oh my God, are you going to explode? Can we continue to podcast? Or are you going to leave the show?
I'm gonna walk off the stage.
It's done.
I've always
Mic
wanted
drop.
to do that. They do that.
I mean,
they do that on the Real Housewives reunions. They just like walk off the stage and
now's your chance.
No,
that would be hard for me to recover from. I'm not gonna lie.
Those are not yoga goals. Bye.
I'm out. Anyway, I was laughing against this because just these suitcases are like, I think this is a sad state of affairs for Taylor Swift, who now has to be concealed to get in and out of her apartment, but like,
What's she trying to hide?
I don't know. Like, I guess I didn't realize.
She had some really bad Botox and filler.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking like she was trying to avoid paparazzi. But now that you mentioned that, I wonder if she's had something done.
She's got a big thing wrapped around her face because she's healing from some surgery.
Oh shit, Sandy! God, your bullshit meter is like fucking on point today.
Yeah, I watch a lot of Bravo TV.
Hashtag accepting no bullshit.
I know. That's just my...
It's good.
It's like hand in hand with my cynicism. So until my cynicism actually flourishes into like full-on hopefulness, I'm going to be like this.
It's good. It's who you are.
It is who I am.
I love you for it.
Okay.
I need you to be to be this way.
Taylor Swift, I see you.
I need you
to
have...
I see you, Taylor.
No bullshit. It's good.
But I still, like, I'm fair because, like I said, I really liked that record, 1987.
Fucking bomb record.
So, like, if you're writing songs in there, okay, all right.
With a little light.
Yeah.
A little. I was just thinking like a little green accountant light, but that's a lot of equipment to fit in her little suitcase.
Why is she doing this? Is there any explanation?
There
for
was
why
no.
she's doing
there was
this?
literally. First of all, it was a BuzzFeed article. There was like really nothing but pictures.
How do we even know that's Taylor Swift? Why are we buying this shit? How do we? This is. I just
no. The picture there with the little thing on the side of it is like takes. I couldn't tell what it was, but it says that that's evidence that that's Taylor Swift. There's like this little circle.
Stop it right now. Stop it right now. Taylor,
playing fast and loose with the facts.
Look what you just did, Taylor. You just got us like thinking you were in that suitcase.
I think she's in the suitcase, and now I think that she's recovering from something plastic surgery related.
That bitch is not in that suitcase.
She's running around the other side of the car while everyone's distracted by the suitcase.
She's like, these people are like fucking stupid. I would not get in a goddamn suitcase.
I'm like, well, it looks nice. I mean,
it doesn't look nice. Have you ever been in a suitcase? Have you ever been in a suitcase?
No, but I mean,
neither have
okay. I was gonna say, I mean, it looks like pretty roomy. I was just about to say, if I had to go, I'm dying. A minute.
Taylor, talk to us. Why are you?
I was just about to say, if I had to go to a suitcase, I would like. I want to know why it's not Louis Vuitton or something. Like,
are they like thunking her down the stairs, like thunk, thunk, thunk?
Like, it's not even a Toomey suitcase, right?
No. I want that like a big away suitcase that's like really hard, and I could charge my phone in.
Yeah, I want to stay in like the Waldorf Astoria of suitcases if I'm going to be going up and down my Brooklyn walk up or whatever it is. So anyway, I mean, I guess that's a nice suitcase.
And how are you gonna like actually pay somebody to pull you around in a suitcase?
And what if they took you somewhere you did not want to fucking go?
You're gonna have your little shift, like get out of the suitcase on my own accord.
And you wake up to someone saying, "Put the lotion in the basket." So that got dark. But I thoroughly believe that Taylor Swift is in the suitcase.
Yeah.
Taylor, if you're out there and you're listening, have your people call our people and confirm whether or not you're in the fucking suitcase.
Yeah, if we were a fact checker, I'd have all kinds of questions. But we'll just leave it. We'll just leave it there.
We'll leave it as is. So I think it's about time for us to transition into our main topic for the evening.
Oh, yeah.
Our personal development topic. As we transition, I just want to remind all our listeners to email us, get in touch with us, goldengirls@allgoldpod.com. That's on your screen right now if you're watching on YouTube. I need to remind our listeners that if you want to watch us on YouTube, you have to Google it pretty specifically, or else you will watch a bunch of Trinidad James videos, which is
like, fun too.
Totally fun. But my mother-in-law was like, I Googled All Gold Everything YouTube, and I'm watching a bunch of videos I don't really want to be watching.
Trinidad James is not getting in any damn suitcase. BTW.
So if you want to watch us on YouTube, you need to Google All Gold Everything Podcast YouTube, or
go to YouTube and just type in their search field All Gold Everything Podcast.
Agree. Whoa. Hey, now we're clicking on all cylinders. Do that. Or you can also watch it on our website, allgoldpod.com. Or you can also watch it on my website, HeidiBcoaching.com. So you can go to any number of places to watch it, but you do need to be particular about adding podcast on the end of it if you're putting it in the general search bar. So just that
was good instructions.
Public service announcement. I'm okay at delivering instructions. Following them is another story. So our main topic for this evening that we wanted to talk about was kind of a general I guess I will just generally introduce it as step parenting.
I just thought of something.
Yeah, throw it out there.
Before we get into our main topic, can I do a short correction section?
Yes, corrections.
Correction section.
Correction section.
Because last week, so this podcast is super fun because I talk to you like we're talking as friends.
Yeah.
And then I realized that my husband can find out what I say about him. It's good.
Oh, that happened to me too.
Shit gets around.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of hurt his feelings when I talked about tweezing his nose hairs because he thought that it was an act of love.
Aww.
But he's right. Like, it is an act of love.
Is.
And I would not actually give that. The correction section is I would actually not give that weird duty to a butler because I like grooming my boo.
Right. That's like preening. That's like a thing that humans and animals do.
Yeah, and I'm a picker. I pick my split ends. And
oh my God.
So my correction is actually I would have my butler pick my split ends.
That is like such a weird thing to assign to a butler. But it's funny because it is iconic for me when I think of you because I have known you to be, we hang out a lot and like when there's nothing else to do, you'll pick up your hair and just start examining it for split ends. And I have started to do that.
Oh, no.
And I love it. I think it is like the ultimate, like, hello, I'm bored. I used to do it in work all the time just to, like, send a big FU message to, like, this is dumb. We are wasting our time here. What are we doing?
Yeah, it's like an obsession compulsion for me.
It is a little bit different, yeah.
Yeah. And then also, like, I really do think that Joey did get a blowjob on Thanksgiving last year.
I wondered if that was...
Yeah. So that was my correction section. I felt it was important before moving into our personal our next, because that was during our personal development section last week. So now we're moving into our next one. I just had to clear that, clean up that little mess
correction
I made.
section. Look at you. So I have a bunch of Skittles in my mouth because I'm back to snacking on the pod. And the personal development section thing we want to talk about this week is step parenting.
Yeah, so I think that the reason this came up is, like, Heidi and I have both talked on this podcast about our roles as step parents. And if you are a good listener, you would see that, like, Heidi and I take very different approaches.
We do have yeah.
Well, yeah, you're moving more towards the center.
I am.
You're turning purple.
I'm turning purple.
You're turning purple.
It was a growing process for me. It was definitely growing pains and growing process for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's no right or wrong. We'll start with that. I mean, there is. I'm just kidding. But so we were at One Imaginary Girl last week, and Heidi and Sarah. Sarah asked if I had any kids, and I said, yeah, I have one off at college. And then I remembered that there's another child at home
in
with
your
me.
life.
And I actually technically have 3 stepchildren.
Yeah.
And I felt a little bit ashamed because I'm like, oh gosh, I should tell you, I should include, I should include these kids as when I talk about my children, right?
Yeah.
And my comment, like, that I kind of said and shaming myself was like, fuck, I'm the evil stepmother. And it was kind of like this, like, am I the evil stepmother?
Ooh.
And it really got me thinking about, like, what that is, what it means, and what is step parenting. And so so we kind of, like, were able to revisit an article that we both read a while ago, which really it talks about it in kind of a more beautiful and historic way.
Yeah.
That I'll let you talk about, and then we could kind of dive into a little.
Totally. Well, I mean, even as we head into that, I was thinking about one of the biggest challenges right off the bat for me with stepmom, evil stepmom, step parenting is, like, exactly what you're talking about. When people, I'll be out with my stepdaughter who, like, she doesn't look like me necessarily or anything, but, like, she's the right age that she could potentially be mine. And so a lot of times she's mistaken for my actual daughter, and it's like right off the bat, I get into a huge spiral about, like, do I correct someone about that? Because I don't want her to think that I'm, like, so presumptuous that I think that I'm her mom. Do I let it go, without, like, does that disrespect her own mom if I let it go and I just let, like, the fucking cashier at New Seasons think that I'm her mom or whatever? Does it, like, does it damage her in any way for me to, like, let some of that stuff go instead of always be like, no, she's my stepdaughter, like, how inclusive is it, how exclusive is it to correct anyone? So I can really overthink that. And I mean, even just, like, hearing you recount that conversation with Sarah, my brain went right to that, like, how that happens pretty regularly with me, and less do I go down the rabbit hole about it, more and more. I just, like, if it's easy to correct, I do. If it's not, I don't. I have talked directly to my stepdaughter about it and just made it really clear to her, like, listen, some people are going to get this confused. And so sometimes I'm going to correct it and sometimes I'm not. I want you to know, like, I know I'm not your mom. And I also know like that you're my stepdaughter, but I don't want to ever exclude you from anything. You're obviously part of the family, blah, 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 blah. So that was like just right off the bat where I was thinking about it. But you and I both months ago, maybe almost a year ago, because this article came out, I think in April of 2017. It was in the New York Times. It's written by Leslie Jameson. And it's about a woman who stepped in as a stepmother to a young stepdaughter who was like 3 at the time. I just had to move away from the microphone.
Whose mother had passed away,
which is a little bit different than either of our situations.
Right. Actually a huge difference.
Yes.
It's a very significant difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in my household, my stepdaughter has a fully functioning adult available present mother and a fully functioning adult present available father. So like there are 2 grown-ass parents, although in different households, and the same in yours.
Yes.
Yeah. So I do think that is a huge difference. But she talks a lot about, she kind of goes through, in the article, this woman goes through how the evil stepmother stereotype kind of emerged, primarily perpetuated by the Brothers Grimm fairy tales. Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and Snow White are like the big 3 that come to mind that have evil stepmothers. So what she got to, which I think was so interesting, is that in the original versions of all 3 of those, there is no evil stepmother. And then the Brothers Grimm revised all 3 of them and added an evil stepmother, killed the mother, added an evil stepmother in order to kind of ascribe or be able to write about characteristics that are part of mothering that are a little unseemly.
Right.
That mothers don't necessarily like to acknowledge, that humans probably, I myself, like a lot of times will have feelings that I'm like, ugh. But they're just human feelings, right? So it's like, jealousy is the worst one for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it gave them a vehicle to write about these kind of like unseemly or seedier feelings that they didn't want to necessarily ascribe to a mother, and so they created this evil stepmother concept.
A mother who can't be human, can only be nurturing and
right, could only be all the good,
right,
all the good stuff. So those mothers are gone, and then the evil stepmother steps in. So it is really fascinating that this kind of archetype of stepmom has lasted for hundreds of years, because the Brothers Grimm fairy tales are from like the 1800s or whatever, right? So that kind of is the setup for the whole thing. And that we had both read that article.
Yeah, I just want to read this because this is exactly what you were talking about was really well written. I have to type in my passcode because it wants to update. She said, "The evil stepmother is so integral to our familiar telling of Snow White that I was surprised to discover that an earlier version of the story doesn't feature a stepmother at all. In this version, Snow White has no dead mother, only a living mother who wants her dead. This was a pattern of revision for the Brothers Grimm. They transformed several mothers into stepmothers between the first version of their stories published in 1812 and the final version in 1857. The figure of the stepmother effectively became a vessel for the emotional aspects of motherhood that were too ugly to attribute to mothers directly: ambivalence, jealousy, resentment, and those parts of a child's experience of her mother as cruel, aggressive, withholding, that were too difficult to situate directly in the biological parent-child dynamic."
That's so funny because I took a picture of that same paragraph thinking,
Yeah.
oh, I want to read this verbatim, but I'm glad
Right.
that I got to paraphrase it and then you got to read it too.
Yeah.
So that's good.
And for some reason, what that trick. So it's funny because we do it differently, you and I,
We do.
because when I'm looking at this, the scope I'm looking at through is me, and the scope you're looking at through is your stepdaughter, and so that is really, really interesting. And I don't know why, but I wrote down under that, I wrote down parental guilt because, being a human, like I've raised a daughter, and being a human is hard,
Yeah.
and parents and mothers end up with guilt, and I think that's another one of those ugly things that we don't want to admit if we're good moms. If we're good moms, we've done everything right. And if we've done everything right, there's no parental guilt. But I think parental guilt is as human as childbirth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things about the step parenting that I get to do, and that's another difference between the step parenting that you're doing and I'm doing, because you have been a full-time only parent, single parent to a biological kid of yours, and now you are step parenting with a partner. a kid that's not yours, and I only have the experience of step-parenting with a partner, a kid that's not mine, who doesn't live with us all the time, which is another kind of thing, another factor, right? So she lives with her mom half the time, and so, you know, I get some time to, it gives me, sometimes I think this is good, sometimes I think it's bad. There's really not much I can do about it except continue to grow with it and acknowledge it. But because she's only home with us half the week, if something's really eating my lunch, I can usually like pause on it, you know, just like bite my tongue for a day or two to like calm myself, center myself, do some writing about it, figure out what the fuck's really going on with me. And then she goes home to her home, you know, and then I have some time to process it with her dad or process it with some of my friends or whatever, and like figure out what it is that I want to say, if anything. And then she comes home back to us after 72 hours or whatever. So like I get a huge break, you know, which is like something that full-time parents don't get. And that makes me think of like the parental guilt concept, mostly because it means that like I really don't like blow my lid at her because I always have space. And I parent with a partner, so it's like I always have space to say, I can't do this right now, I'm going. Or whatever, if something's like really, so that's like another thing, another piece of it where it's like there are some things about the conditions of our step parenting that may make it easier, more challenging or less challenging for whatever reasons they are, you know. But I do also understand this concept of like feeling guilt. I feel it in a little bit of a different vein where it's like, you know, sometimes there's stuff that I don't want to do, and I do feel a little guilty about it because this little step kid is like total angel. So sometimes my own sickness about like feeling worthy enough to like have all my feelings, you know, like sometimes that gets under my, that translates into parental guilt.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
It does. And I actually, I don't think you have to say she's a total angel. I actually think that that's kind of bullshit because I haven't met a kid
who's a total angel. Yeah.
And I think that that's a narrative and a story that sticks us in this, well, she's a total angel.
And now I'm so bad.
And I'm bad. And I shouldn't be mad.
Right.
I shouldn't be jealous, ambivalent.
Right.
You know, all these thoughts.
Yeah.
And I think that that's part of it. I don't believe in putting kids in these princess positions.
Right.
I don't think that they are special snowflakes. I don't think that I need to monitor her feelings to the point where, oh my God, am I going to hurt her if I say she's a step kid or not a step kid? And so I have a completely different approach.
We do.
And I think that one, it's because she's not my biologic child, although I was very similar with my biologic child. But I think that there's just, I don't have the same level of responsibility. And because I don't have the same level of responsibility, I'll probably never feel the same level of parental guilt.
Right.
And because I don't have the same level of responsibility, it's like I get to just let this thing grow and see what it becomes and what type of relationship I get to form.
Yeah.
But I cannot do I'm never going to sit here and say she's a sweet little angel. I'm not going to say she's an asshole either. She's not. She's not. She's a good kid. That's it.
Well, I think what's really interesting is that you have seen me put myself through the ringer on this for a couple, you know, really it has taken me a lot of time to get to a place where I'm moving into now, which is really a much more hands-off experience.
Yeah.
Where it really is more like, you know, I'm going to show up as me. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to like, if I want to do something with, you know, my stepdaughter, we're going to go out and do it. If I don't, I'm going to say no, you know, doing so much less managing, you know, and all of that managing stuff that comes from my own wounds and my own, you know, there is the Heidi Fix-It character that likes to like, ding, 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 come out and like get in charge of everything.
Yeah.
So like I have had to do a lot of work around setting that aside, and it still is certainly my go-to.
Yeah.
You know, but I have a lot of people in my life who will call me out on it, who will just like bring it to my attention as opposed to calling me out on it, just so that I can move towards something that I think is a little healthier for me, which is that like, you know, I'm always going to be interested. I'm always going to be invested. There are a lot of things that I care about and want for this stepdaughter of mine. But honestly, I have really learned in the last 12 months, like she has 2 grown parents. They can take care of this.
Yeah.
It's like really not my job.
Well, yeah, and I think that in there lies the crux of this whole conversation for me, because Like what I'm saying is like, I don't think there's any right or wrong. Like, I don't think like one way is right and one way is wrong. Like, if you want to have the sweetest child in the whole world who is a special snowflake and your whole goal in life is to protect her sweet feelings, that's fine. And if I'm a lot more ambivalent than that, I think that that's fine too.
Yeah.
Especially at the end of the day, both of these little kids have mothers.
Yeah.
And both of them have really good mothers.
Really
and
good
thank
moms.
Fucking God for that.
Agreed.
Because those are scars. When kids lose their moms, that's trauma.
Yeah.
Those are scars. These girls, they both need their moms.
Totally. One of the things I love is that occasionally I will feel threatened by, you know, the relationship that my stepdaughter has with her mom, you know, because it's like, whatever. Occasionally I feel threatened by that. I'm human, right? And then I have to sit back and go like, duh. I mean, of course I want her to have a good relationship. But that whole point is that she has a good relationship with her mom. She has a good relationship with her dad. She has some kind of relationship with me and her. You know, her mom has a partner, so her stepdad. Like, you know, the whole point, like, it's really easy to lose sight of the end game, which is exactly what you're saying, which is that all these kids that are in our lives, the kids in our lives, at the very least, have, like, a lot of structure and parents and, like, people interested in shepherding them through the growing process. And so at the end of the day, like, all I want is for her to be able to advocate for herself, to, like, be a grown person. And, like, my only job in doing that is, like, to be a grown person.
Right.
And to act like a grown-ass woman.
Yeah.
And sometimes...
And hopefully you get to model what it looks like to be a grown woman. I mean, that's what I've been saying ever since I entered Joey's daughter's life.
Yeah.
Is that if all I can do is provide another example. Another example.
Yeah.
Because she already has an example.
Yep.
Of what a grown woman in the world looks like.
Yep.
For her to, you know, hopefully look up to.
Right.
That's great.
Then you're in great shape.
Yeah.
And the other thing
we
I
are
actually...
gravy. Like, we are gravy. We're frosting.
We are.
Yeah.
We're good frosting.
Yeah.
Buttercream frosting.
Yes.
Cheese cream. Wait, cream cheese. What? Am I having a stroke? Did I ask that last week? I'm
No.
not. I'm not having a stroke. But the other thing that I was thinking of as you were weighing in on that too is that, you know, if I can, even if I can not take on purposely, but say, you know, even if I can lean into my humanness and have some of these like ugly characteristics, ambivalence, jealousy, whatever, even if I can model for her what it looks like to be a human and to have those feelings and to know, like, just to demonstrate to her, like, it's okay to have all these feelings. We're still okay.
You better have all these feelings.
You need to have them.
If you are a whole person.
Right.
And you're integrated, you're going to have these feelings.
Right. Because I think that's the danger. For me, that is the danger of co-parenting where I get some time off. Because sometimes it gives me the space to, like, chill out, cool down, figure out what it is that's getting under my skin, figure out what I want to do about it. But sometimes it also gives me the space to just like push it down and pretend everything's fine, you know? And so what I'm really aiming for in my parenting these days is like to just be my whole person, to have the full expression of all emotions, to let her see that like it's going to be okay if I'm pissed off. She and I have a resilient relationship that is not going to crumble because either one of us is angry.
You might not, though.
We might, but we might. You're right.
You don't know.
Well, on my end, it's resilient.
Yeah, right.
For now.
Yeah.
Like, there's really not much that her 11-year-old self could do to me that would damage the resiliency of our relationship.
Just wait.
I know, but that's why I'm saying 11. I don't know what she's going to do at 15.
Raise the kid.
Yeah. You raise the kid. I mean, so I don't know what she'll do at 15. But today, I can't think of much.
You don't know how resilient you are yet.
That's right. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to keep telling myself, I think part of it is like, I'm going to keep telling myself that I am resilient, that we are resilient, just so that when the time comes that's really tested,
that's going to be your muscle memory.
Yeah. I'm going to remember we're resilient. This is okay. This will pass. And even if it's not okay, it's okay.
Right.
You know, so it's like, so that is kind of my practice right now is like just to really bring to it some of the fullness of my humanness as opposed to censoring some of it for her or for me.
Yeah. And so also something to point out, like when we're talking about the evil stepmother trope. So in these grim fairy tales, it was always like the good sweet mother died and these evil women stepped in, controlled their dad's emotions and feelings and took their dad away from the kid. And I think that is therein where lies the truth about the evil stepmother trope. Is in that. And I think that's what it's important to be sensitive to the children about. Because Joey fell fucking head over heels in love with me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever fallen in love. I suspect maybe you have. You only think about one person.
Yeah.
And so there is a little bit of a reality to that type of displacement.
Yeah.
And a child forever is going to want their family unit.
Yeah.
So there are, even though it's not the loss of a mother, thank goodness.
Right.
We're not talking about the loss of a mother.
Right. We are talking
about a loss. And I think where I can be sensitive is to that, to that displacement.
Sure.
And so for me, what I've always done naturally is I want to give Joey and his daughter their time together when they need it.
Yep.
And I'm never jealous of that.
Right.
And then the other thing I wanted to say is,
I just want to piggyback on that because I think that's super important. I mean, there is Jeff and his daughter. I try to give. They actually have one night a week where it's just them because I have like a bunch of stuff that I do on Tuesdays, right? So it's like
Joey and his daughter have like 5.
Right. I mean, so it's like so one of the things that's nice about that is having a busy schedule certainly makes it easier to be like, oh, you guys go do that, I'm gonna go do this or whatever. But I agree. I think it's so important that dads and, I guess I'm thinking this dad and daughter have their time. And one of the best pieces of advice I ever got from my work colleague actually was a guy who had twin daughters. And he was like, gosh, once they turned 11, I had a weekly Starbucks date with them. With each of them, they're twins. So he went out with one and then came back and took the other one out. And he's like, we did it every week until they were 18. And honestly, it was the best way for me to eat. And they were still, they weren't even a blended family, right? They were just like still their original family unit. And he was just like, I just needed to invest that one-on-one time with my kids, with these 2 little girls individually, so they would each know how important they were to me. I just was like, and I thought like, well, that's like a no-brainer. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I think that's just great parenting. I
agree.
Gosh, if that's a big investment, 2 hours a week.
Yeah, it is.
So I don't want to make that sound like, everybody should do that, because I'm also like, I know how busy we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great gesture for sure to make, just as parenting in general. And I think that the other thing that I wanted to say about step parenting that I think it's important to say is everything that we're talking about now is a whole different scoop if there is not another parent. So
I agree.
If I had met Joey and he had full-time custody of this kid and the mother had passed away, I would understand completely that he's looking for a mother. Yeah. That was not the case when we met.
That's right.
But if it was, it was. And I don't know, we probably wouldn't have dated. But I think that there would be a totally different understanding about what role is needed in this family.
Totally. I mean, I really think that circumstances so much drive like how we can how we can best step into these step parenting roles. And so much of that is about like what feels right in my heart, what's right for our family, what's the real, just like basic ass reality. Is there another parent who's stable that's in the picture? Is there not another parent in the picture? Is there another parent in the picture who's not stable? I mean, there's like, so it's like, you're right. It's like, it's not a one size fits all approach, but I like that between the pair of us, I feel like we have provided just a really good kind of insight into like a pretty standard approach to like what is a generally like common situation where there's all the parents are still around, everyone's still in the picture.
Yeah.
So I love that we got to have this discussion because step parenting is such a, it's just like such a lightning bolt topic.
Yeah. And there's one more thing I have to add just to be complete, and I'd feel shitty if I didn't, is I'm a step parent to 3 of Joey's kids, and 2 of them are 2 adults. And I have, that has also been like an incredible gift because they're great kids. They're not sweet little perfect angels on Mount High, but they're really good kids. They're they're sweet boys. And I have found myself like so proud of both of them.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to be a member like of their family.
Yeah.
And so that's really cool. And I just don't want to go without saying that there's actually 3.
Yeah.
Gosh, I thought there was one more thing, but now I'm forgetting. I gave my shout out to the boys.
Hey guys.
I got you boys.
One of them who runs your Instagram account.
Well, he's off at he's away.
He's off.
Yeah, so he's so LMB and Mr. Nakamura.
Their account's
Instagram
very quiet right now.
And LMB has actually relocated and lives with the other one now.
He's gonna have to pick up Instagram duties.
He's gonna have to pick up the slack.
It's true. It comes along with the territory. Well, I love that. I'm glad we got to have that great discussion. It was awesome stuff. So, and I think that's about it for us tonight. We are wrapping up. We are sending you lots of love, light, and gold from Portland tonight. And don't forget to
stay vigilant.
Peace.